Well, partnerships have been key in producing the first messenger RNA COVID-19 vaccine in Africa, and getting the vaccine approved and into people's arms will require a similar effort. In January, the first mRNA technology transfer hub in South Africa successfully produced an mRNA COVID-19 vaccine. It was able to replicate Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine without the company's assistance by using publicly available information and support from international organizations and researchers in South Africa and from different parts of the globe. Well, the managing director of the company responsible for that success, Afrigen Biologics, joins us now from Cape Town. Professor Petra Terblanche, thank you for joining us on the program.
Good evening, Nigeria, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
Good evening. How easy was that feat? And this is speaking technologically.
So what is very important, I've heard the comment about partnerships. So for Afrigen, in the partnership with Wits University and supported by technical specialists across the world, and very strongly also the technical groups in the World Health Organization, were in fact able to produce at lab scale a vaccine end-to-end, from the sequence to the plasmid to the DNA, the RNA, and a final vaccine. We are now taking this through further development and hopefully will transfer this full technology package then to the other spokes appointed on the African continent to be our partners to manufacture these vaccines for use in Africa, people from Africa.
So at the moment, what stage are we in that production? Because a lot of people are wondering, I mean, how unique is this set of mRNA vaccine different from the others already in circulation?
So what is very significant is we have now developed this vaccine with no technology transfer, with our own knowledge base and our own scientific capabilities. This vaccine is now in preclinical phase still. We need to scale up, and we need to do our preclinical development and then go into clinical development. This could take up to 36 months to complete the full process to regulatory approvals to be able to treat people and to vaccinate people. So there is still a long way for us to go.
So as of now, would you call it a copy of Moderna or quite a different vaccine entirely?
So we call it a replica because we use the sequence of the Moderna vaccine 1273, but we use our own knowledge and processes and what is available in the public domain to make this final formulation. We can only tell after our preclinical studies how identical it is to the Moderna vaccine, and that may then fast-track our clinical development.
So let's talk about Moderna itself. Have they said anything? Are there complications with using their sequence, COVID sequence, to make a version of the shot? Have there been any problems legally in any way?
So the sequence does not belong to Moderna. It was discovered by Stanford University, so it is in the public domain. Moderna has come out with a notification that they will implement a waiver during the pandemic and give freedom to operate in the form of a waiver for all, not only for Afrigen and for the mRNA hub, but for all developers of vaccine. BioNTech also last Thursday declared a waiver on the intellectual property for the time that the pandemic is still a pandemic, classified as a pandemic.
Let's talk about vaccination on the African continent. How does this change things? A lot of people are saying this is a game changer, and it speaks well of the future in terms of vaccination on the continent.
So this initiative is very much aligned with the African Union and the Partners for African Vaccine Manufacturing strategy to create capacity and capability on this continent for us to produce 60% of the vaccines we need by 2040. It is completely aligned with it. This is one of many initiatives that will build capacity, capability, create a platform, in this case the mRNA platform, that will enable us not only to develop COVID-19 vaccines, but other vaccines such as HIV, TB, malaria, Lassa fever, Ebola, those vaccines that can be produced on an mRNA platform. So why this is a game changer? It demonstrates Africa's capacity and capability to create a platform. It demonstrates our capacity and our capability to do vaccine design, development, and ultimately manufacturing.
And we're also looking at the laboratory also that was used to design and produce this at such a large scale on the continent as well.
Yes, so Afrigen will produce for clinical trial material. That technology package, the complete ability to make this product according to quality standards, will be transferred then to 6 other companies within the African continent. The announcement was made on Friday by Dr. Tedros from WHO that we will have a spoke to this hub where the center of the technology is developed. It will be transferred to BioVac in South Africa. It will go to Kenya, Nigeria, Senegal, Egypt, and Tunisia, thereby creating a platform and a network of companies on the continent that can produce vaccines for use in people, commercially available, quality, safe, and affordable vaccines.
You talked about the countries selected for the vaccine hub technology. In terms of selection, what are your thoughts about these particular countries?
Quite strategic. The process was, of course, that WHO, in close consultation also with the African Union, put out a call for expression of interest. So it was a completely voluntary participation. These countries, and specifically the companies in these countries, indicated that they would be interested to receive the technology and to participate in this network organization for production of mRNA vaccines. The African Union, in full consultation with the WHO, then, and of course these countries and companies then agreed that these will be the 6 countries that will be part of the mRNA network hub, run and operated by supported by WHO.
In terms of challenges, because these are some of the problems on the African continent, and we saw this much more with COVID-19, what are some of the things and the partnership and collaboration will do for the countries that have expressed interest to the production? And this is also to meet the timeline for the vaccine creation.
So the different countries and the different companies are at different stages of their maturity to receive technology. So we will, Afrigen, in close collaboration with these companies, will design training and technology transfer packages that will fast track the different companies. We don't believe they will all come on stream at the same time, but we will work very closely with all 6 these organizations to fast track and to speed up delivery. The challenges are around skills development. Remember, Africa does not have an mRNA vaccine manufacturing sector. We're all learning. We know the principles. And in some cases, our regulatory authorities have not yet reached ML3 status. All of this, creating this ecosystem of regulatory, manufacturing, skills, quality systems, and of course the market reshaping, is driven by multiple partnerships. It is international and local, and it is driven in a way that is designed as an integrated product plan with milestones to ensure that we meet the mandate that was given to this network. Create capacity and capabilities for this continent to produce its own quality vaccines.
You had at some fora said that we started with the Moderna sequence because that gives, in the best view, the best starting material. And, you know, others might wonder, why not some of the others?
The decision to choose the Moderna vaccine was quite a strategic one. It's a good vaccine. For us, it's the gold standard. And we know that and the sequence is available, we know that if we can use that sequence and make a vaccine that is comparable, we will not only demonstrate the capacity and the capability on this continent, we will also have a vaccine that will meet regulatory requirements. And that's very important. We can't have an experimental process where it takes us years just to get to a lab scale product. We have to fast track it. So the decision on the Moderna vaccine was a very strategic one.
Talk to us about the South Africa community, especially, the research community, taking what Afrigen Biologics has done.
So the South African research community is of high excellence, as you know. If we look at COVID over the last 2 years, most of the breakthrough scientific, or many of the breakthrough discussions came from Africa, not only South Africa, Botswana and other countries. And there's the network in Africa for sequencing that tracks the epidemiology of the disease. Afrigen, because of our history of partnership with South African universities, partnered. In this case, it was easy for us to partner with Wits University. University of the Witwatersrand has a group, a highly competent scientific group that has worked on RNA, mRNA for the last 6 to 8 years. The application was therapeutic, but for them then to work with the Afrigen group and our scientific base and our bioprocessing engineers, it was not that difficult to put a team together that can make this vaccine in a period of 2 months.
And this is also something that we see will strengthen research on the continent for vaccines and other scientific discoveries.
I couldn't hear your question completely, but I sense it was... Can you repeat that for me?
In terms of strengthening research on the continent, that this is also something that adds to that.
Yeah, Melissa, this is very important. So again, this hub was not created just for a single vaccine. It was not only done for COVID-19. It was created as a platform with the ability to now work with scientists across the continent to design and develop new vaccines. Look at current vaccines and repurpose and improve them, but look at new vaccines for the burden of disease. So this is certainly also a catalyst to build partnerships and to enhance the research capabilities on this continent, again, aligned with the strategy of the African Union and the Partners for African Vaccine Manufacturing. This will provide a facility where scientists can come to scale their vaccine, to get good manufacturing practices, and to produce clinical trial material which meets all the regulatory requirements for and stringent regulatory requirements. That ecosystem, that whole value chain will enhance innovation on this continent, vaccine manufacturing innovation.
Perhaps a final question, and this is for those who feel it's still a long way to go for the vaccine at the end of the day. What would you say to that?
For this vaccine, it is still a long way to go, that is true. But remember, we're building a sustainable platform of capacity and capabilities. Even if it takes for this vaccine 3 years to complete, following on to that is a second-generation vaccine with different properties. And already we are making decisions on the priority for pipeline vaccines, HIV, TB, malaria, the key priority diseases for Africa. We also believe that if you look at the WHO projections, just to get 40% of the African population vaccinated for COVID-19 at the current rate may take us 36 months, and it will take a few billion doses. So even this exercise for a COVID-19 vaccine is not in vain. And the sustainability of the pipeline is very, very important.
We appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Managing Director, Afrigen Biologics, Professor Petra Terblanche. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you, Melissa.